Hi everyone, welcome to the signature launch of St. Louis Celebrates Women's Small Business Month. My name is Maximiliana Zales and I am the St. Louis-based Outreach Manager for Small Business Majority, a national small business organization. Our mission is to empower America's entrepreneurs to build a thriving and inclusive economy. We are here tonight to highlight the importance of women's entrepreneurship because women are starting small businesses at a higher rate than men, and their businesses are generating jobs and business revenues above the national average. And women of color are creating businesses faster than the rest of the population. 79% of the businesses started by women since 2007 were started by women of color. Supporting female entrepreneurs, especially women of color, has the potential to unlock tremendous growth for our communities. Unfortunately, women entrepreneurs face challenges that men don't. Among those obstacles are the fact that it's a lot harder for women to obtain business loans. Women account for just 16% of conventional small business loans and 17% of small business administration loans, even though they represent 30% of all small companies. And since women have more trouble obtaining financing, they are more likely to rely on themselves for money by using their own savings or personal credit cards, limiting their ability to grow quickly and contribute to the local economy. Fortunately, we are here to help. Small Business Majority recently launched our Women's Entrepreneurship Program, which is aimed to help women entrepreneurs gain the resources that they need to start and grow their companies. And as part of this program, we are providing in-person events and online resources to help women succeed. Tonight, we have assembled an outstanding lineup of speakers and presenters who will help you navigate the challenges of starting and growing your business. Along with Small Business Majority, tonight's event is co-sponsored by the City of St. Louis Treasurer's Office of Financial Empowerment. That office is overseen by City Treasurer Tashara Jones, whose political career began in 2002 when she was appointed as Democratic Committeewoman of the 8th Ward in the City of St. Louis. She recently served for 2 terms in the Missouri House of Representatives, and when selected by her colleagues as the Assistant Minority Floor Leader, became the first African American and the first woman to hold this position in the history of Missouri. Treasurer Jones is passionate about business and entrepreneurship. Her recent employment includes Vice President of Public Finance for Blaylock Robert Van LLC, an investment banking firm, and adjunct faculty at the Anheuser-Busch School of Business at Harris Stowe State University. Through her work with the Office of Financial Empowerment, Treasurer Jones is dedicated to helping citizens make better financial decisions. OFE hosts financial literacy classes, encouraging personal responsibility and participating in asset building initiatives. OFE has an office in St. Louis City Hall with a staff person who provides financial education and credit counseling free of charge through Operation Hope, a national nonprofit leader in financial literacy. OFE also works with several other banks and nonprofits to provide over 20 different financial management classes on various topics, including how to purchase a home, entrepreneurship, investing, and public service student loan forgiveness. As you can see, Treasurer Jones and OFE are making a real difference in the lives of St. Louis entrepreneurs. I am honored to welcome Treasurer Jones.
Thank you. How's everybody doing? Happy Women's Small Business Month. Yes. So again, I am Tashara Jones and I am the treasurer of the City of St. Louis, and I want to thank all of you for coming tonight as we kick off the start of National Women's Small Business Month and our new partnership with the Small Business Majority. When Small Business Majority approached the Office of Financial Empowerment about partnering with their Women's Entrepreneurship Program, I knew immediately that we had to jump on this opportunity. That's because in a previous life, many, many moons ago, I was also a small business owner myself. I started a restaurant, and like many others, it failed despite my hard work, goals, and good intentions. I think God was trying to tell me something then. I knew that combining the resources of the OFE and the small business majority would help save many current and aspiring female business owners from that same fate. So I'm so excited to kick this partnership off tonight, and I look forward to watching it grow and change the lives of women in St. Louis. But my personal experience isn't the only reason why I jumped on this partnership. Did you know, as we heard earlier, there are 1.1 million small businesses in the state of Missouri, and that 61,000 of these small businesses are owned by people of color, and there are more than 100 minority and women-owned certified vendors in the St. Louis area. We want that number to change. We want it to increase, and if it's going to increase, it's going to take partnerships like the one between the OFE and Small Business Majority's Women's Entrepreneurship Program. It's going to take all of us sharing our knowledge and resources to lift one other up, because that's what we're about, right, ladies? We're going to lift each other up. We're going to lift as we climb. Did you know that women-owned businesses employ almost 9 million people and generate more than $1.6 trillion in revenues, but they account for only 4% of the nation's business revenues, and that number hasn't changed in over 20 years. So listen carefully to what all these talented women who are going to be before you tonight have to say. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask for help. That's why we're here. And this partnership just isn't about tonight. There are events scheduled all month long designed to help women get on the path to successful business ownership. Make sure you grab a schedule in the lobby before you leave, and make sure you meet a new friend before you leave. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the evening, and God bless you.
And we're going to get started this evening by bringing up 3 small business owners from right here in the St. Louis area. When I call your name, please come on up. Remember to take a seat, and the microphones are already on for your convenience. So if I could please have Megan King-Popp with Urban Fork Cafe. Kristy Jackson with DK Solutions. And Luz Haberberger with Luzco Solutions. You're sitting before us tonight as small business owners, but you were not always a small business owner. So the first question that I have for you tonight that I would like to share or ask you to share with our audience is, who were you before you became a small business owner? Kristy, we'll start with you and work around on that side.
You saw me looking at the end of the film.
I did, but you're closest to me, so I'm picking on you first.
So who was I before I was an entrepreneur? I was Kristy Love. That's what my mom told me that I was. That's how I proclaim myself. And if you don't know who Kristy Love is, I believe she was the first female African-American policewoman. Kristy Love, yes. So you have to be careful how you Google. I don't want to get off track, but I have Googled Kristy Love, and so you have to be careful how you Google. But I'm the other Kristy Love. But I always knew that I was a leader. My mom tells these stories that, I didn't walk, I ran. When I was born, I was one of the babies in the nursery that was looking around, so they named me the little lady, so I don't know if I was just nosy or if I was a leader. But as I began to grow, and I had a passion for solving problems, connecting with people, and using my creativity to solve those problems, I went into the field of education. And I will say that education found me. My mom was an educator, and so I knew that I liked people listening to what I had to say, and so in a classroom, I have a captive audience, right? And so I went to college, and I got a degree in education, And so specifically, I worked in gifted education. And I noticed that there were gaps in that field, not many women of color, not many students of color. And so I began to become an advocate in that space as well. And so I've worked in education for about 17 years. And my husband and I also work in ministry. And so we have pastored and we have founded a church years ago as I was working as an educator and working in ministry. And so over time, building relationships, solving problems, using my creativity, people would say, I'm having this event, can you help me plan it? Or I want to start this business and I need some ideas. Can you help me? Can you connect me with some of your friends or someone that you know? And I said, sure, because I love helping people.
Don't get too ahead of me, Kristy, because don't go into my next question yet.
Okay.
We just want to know who you were before you became a business.
Okay. Well, that's who I was. Maximiliana is my friend, so she can check me on this. It's okay.
All right, Megan.
I wish my story was as complete as that, but actually, I grew up in a family that was mainly entrepreneurs, and everybody said, you have to work for yourself. And I, on the other hand, was like, no, I like people delegating things to me. I don't want to head a business. But as I became an adult, I also went into the education field, and in my very first job teaching, I said, holy crap, I really hate this. This is not for me. I was a nanny as well, and I loved that. So I started a daycare out of my home, which was kind of my first, experience owning my own business, which is very small and easy compared to what I'm doing now. And then about 2 years ago, I was taking those kids that I had, and I was trying to get to Forest Park, and it started pouring down rain, and I was like, well, crap, where do we go now? And everywhere that we have the option to go is too big and more geared towards the older kids, and I had 3 years old and younger. So I went home and started Googling indoor play cafes or play spaces, and Chicago has a bunch. And I was like, well, that sounds awesome.
Megan.
Too much?
Too much.
Okay.
Megan.
Well, who I was somebody who did not like to lead.
We're teachers. We have that in common, right?
I did not like to lead at the time, and I was extremely nervous at public speaking. But that's all in the past 2 years changed very much, and we'll tell more later.
So, Megan, thank you for your honesty.
Yeah.
This is being recorded, by the way. Luz, who were you before you became a businesswoman?
Good evening, everyone. Before I became a businesswoman, I was an immigrant in a male-dominated field, trying to prove myself, trying to show that I could do the same as my counterparts.
So quick and easy.
Straight to the point, I'm an engineer.
All right, Luz, thank you for following directions. And because you did such a great job, you can go next with the next question, which is basically, well, before, I wanted everybody to have an idea, right? Like, who are these women before they became business owners, the successful business owners that they are today? And how did they get started? Because we all have to start somewhere, right? So now that you've told us what you used to do before, go ahead and tell us about how did you decide on your business concept or your business idea, and how did you get started?
So as I mentioned before, I'm an engineer, so all my life I've been surrounded by men. And it's a very male-dominated industry. And also on top of that, I was the only Latina in my class. So all my career I've been trying to prove that I can do the same as my counterpart, trying to prove that, hey, I deserve the same pay, or I deserve the same promotions. So after I obtained an MBA, kind of like it sparked something in me that said, maybe you can do this on your own. But then, of course, life happens. I got pregnant. I have 2 boys, ages 4 and 5. So I'm like, well, now it's not the time. But then working, doing consulting for an electrical company here in St. Louis, I learned that actually now is the time to be a woman in business. Now is the time to be a woman of color in business. So So I'm like, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? So it was a combination of wanting to prove that I could do it, to a recognition that the industry needed more females, more Latinas, more women of color in the industry. And 3, actually to become a role model to young boys and girls that they can do and whatever they want to, if they put their minds to.
Thank you. Thank you. Megan. Yes, your turn.
So as I was saying, there were play cafes in Chicago, and I went on vacation a week later and went to my first play cafe and just fell in love with the concept. Starting a business again was never something that I had planned to do, and so figuring out how to do that was, a scary concept, but especially not liking to speak in public and not feeling very confident about any of it. I started I'm assuming I'm answering correctly, but I started a Facebook page just to see if there was a market for it, and the Facebook page blew up in St. Louis. I think we got like 700 likes in 5 days or something like that. So I knew that once I put the concept out there, it was too late. Either I had to do it or somebody else was going to do it. And so I just went full throttle and threw myself into it. And that's how I got here.
So as I was saying, we talk about the business concept, we talk about the pitch and the business plan, right? I didn't start my business with that. I started my business in response to relationships, in response to helping my friends, and my friends would tell their friends about, how it would help them plan an event, or that, I was someone that they could call to help connect them to someone if they wanted to start a business, or if they needed a speaker, or if they needed, to find a musician. My husband is a musician, and so we help in those areas. And so we really would just help people. And one event that I did, I helped with a particular wedding. And, the bride is like, okay, so how much do you charge? And I'm like, charge? I don't mind. I'm just helping. And so she said, no, I'm going to pay you. And so when I got that card and opened up that card and I saw what was in that card, I said, oh, okay, I think I could do this. Maybe this could become a side hustle for me. We don't do it for the money, but the money is nice, right? And so I continued, with this. Now, again, we had a business, DK, Dream Catchers was the business, that was the name of it. And so it was really a side hustle. We were working out of our home because we had children. And again, learn from me. Don't do what I do. First year of marriage, mother-in-law lives with me, church starts out of our home, we start a business, and then we have a 1-year-old, right? So all of this happened at the very same time. So I say entrepreneurship found me. It did. I wasn't looking for it, but it has to do with timing, because we've worked this business part-time, and we came to the point in our lives where our children have gone away to college, graduated from college, and so my husband and I are in our empty nest, and we look at each other and we say, we have time now to devote to this business, right? So this is just a thought in our head. He goes to meet with a golf buddy, so they're talking in this friend's office. The owner of the building comes down, and they're all shooting the breeze about golf, and somehow my husband mentions, my wife and I, we have this event company, and so, I help musicians, I book them, I kind of help, with their professional development, and he's like, well, you need to come upstairs and see this space that we have. And so, long story short, he comes back home and says, honey, we have an office. And I'm like, I'm just ready to start traveling. Like, we don't have children at home. You're ready to pick up another child, which is a new business, rebranding our business and devoting more time to it. And so the answer was yes. And so we started in that office with offering business coaching and consulting services and event planning. And I tell you, that grew beyond our imagination, because we started with an office space, and then we were able to acquire additional event space where we could host events for those business owners that we coached. And so the DK Annex space has just grown beyond our imagination, and we are really trying to catch up. So sometimes you have a preset plan for how you enter in business, and sometimes business finds you. But we are at the stage where we have been blessed to connect with the resources that you're probably going to hear from a little later in how to build your business and go back to basics and make sure that you're building that business on a strong foundation.
Thank you, Kristy. So my next question, this is a great segue for that, because my next question is, and Kristy, you can go ahead and take this one first. Besides any employees that you may have, who else is on your business team, or what I like to call your business advisory council, because this is your team, so you can give it any name that you want. And that's the name that I like to use when I do these presentations and ask people, who is on your business advisory council?
You know, that is a wonderful name, the Business Advisory Council. You know, I really like the name of that. But I call it my village because, yes, I have mentors that have advanced, experience in the same field. But I also have colleagues that are in the same field that I'm in. But I also value connecting with those individuals that are in different fields that I'm in. So if I'm in business coaching, I also network with those that are in the financial realm. I network with those that are in engineers, because I want to be able to understand how to broaden my thinking and vary the services that we offer and get their perspectives as well. So sometimes if you stay in the same lane, you don't get a different perspective. And so it's important to vary your advisors. And I also have a spiritual advisor because I am very strong in my faith, and I believe that that is one of the main reasons, if not the only reason, why I and my husband are where we are today. And so for us, our spiritual advisor is just as important as our business mentors and our colleagues.
Thank you, Kristy. Megan? Who makes up your business advisory council?
I, particularly in the process of opening our doors the year and a half before that, I've really kind of, similarly to how entrepreneurship found you, I met people, like having a date night with my husband. I met my restaurant consultant who helped me. She owns Pieces, the board game bar, and we were having a date night there, and I just introduced myself to her, and suddenly, she's consulting me and helping me open the restaurant side of my business. And I joined Rise Collaborative and met, 3 or 4 people there that were extremely helpful, including the owners of it, in teaching me how to speak to people, do the, 30-second pitches, and how to find the right people to get the real estate side, and, what your lease should really look like. I mean, it really just kind of fell into the relationships that I was having. My group of friends are broke 30-somethings. And so I really had to expand that circle that I was in, and I joined Brazen, and I joined Rise, and I met as many people as I humanly could. And I will say that if I said I'm opening up a play space for kids with a coffee house and they glazed over, I said, okay, you're not my person. I learned very quickly who was worth delving into the concept with and who was, worth meeting for other reasons, but not necessarily needing to expand upon the concept. And that, it built my little group. I have a financial advisor, but through just simple conversations, and every single person that I deal with, except for Pieces, all had some interaction with children, and so they get it.
Again, Megan, this is being recorded. Thank you for your honesty. I don't know if your friends are going to be too happy with your comment about broke 30-somethings, but...
Oh, they all know.
Then we're good. Then we're good.
By that concept.
Then we're good. Thank you, Megan. Luz, your turn. Who makes up part of your small business advisory council?
Just like the two ladies were saying, people who are willing to share their stories because I'm willing to learn and just ask questions. So anyone who is willing to teach or mentor. But I actually found, great business partners in the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I always thank Gabriela because she pushes me to get out of my comfort zone, and I think that's how we grew.
Awesome, thank you. So ladies, I have a very specific, I want you to think about this question very specifically, and depending on how long you've been in business, it may be hard to go back mentally to when you first started, but what is something that you know now that you wish that you knew when you were first starting out that would have made a drastic difference in you getting your business up and running? And try to think of something very specific that you can share with our audience tonight. And I'm not calling on anybody, whoever's got it, you can just...
I have one because I keep saying it over and over and over. There is an incredible amount of support here in the city for people who are thinking about starting a business. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions. I wish I knew about the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce before I started my company, because they have been incredibly a good wealth of knowledge and support as well that I wish I knew before I actually signed the dotted line.
Okay, thank you, Luz.
Like I was just saying, I feel like the first like 6 months of trying to raise money or find the right people to speak to figure out even the next step in that endeavor was just, I had to learn. I did not learn quick enough, is what I'm trying to say, to not put too much time and energy into people that glazed over on the concept. Even if it was technically the right person, if they didn't get it, then it wasn't worth my time. And if I had learned that a little bit faster, then I probably would have moved a little faster. I think that took me a little while. And it also shook my confidence, you know? If people glazed over, it was like, oh shoot, maybe this concept isn't really going to work. Instead, about 6 to 7 months into it, I started meeting the right people who did not glaze over. And it was like, okay, they are out there and they can be helpful. And those are the people worth talking to. So, and they've really formed my support system, which has been great.
Ditto, ditto. I would say to scale when you are ready. I said, you know, we had this business as sort of a side hustle, and when we started it as a business, we went out and got business cards and credit card machines. Now, we're working out of our home, right? Credit card machines, like everything that we thought we needed to look like a business so that we can be prepared for the customers that we didn't have. And so that caused us to get into a lot of debt unnecessarily. And so this time around, we have learned to scale when we are ready.
Thank you for that, ladies. One last question, 60-second answer. What is one piece of advice that you could share with our audience? If you're just starting out, this is key for you to remember. Something that you want to leave them with tonight.
Join everything. Go to everything. Like I said, I joined Brazen and Rise, and I went to all sorts of meetings and anything like this. I mean, just meeting the people that are there to support you, and having women support you is just major. So that expanded my circle and expanded my mind, and it gave me me sitting up here would not have happened 2 years ago. I would be shaking like a leaf and barely able to talk, and just really having confidence in myself and in the business. And the reason for that is because of the people that I surrounded myself with.
Thank you, Megan.
I would say the same. The way we say it is show up. And show up with an open mind and be ready to give, not just what you're going to take from that meeting, from that experience. Be ready to encourage someone, to connect with someone, to ask questions, to engage with someone, but be willing to show up.
Thank you, Kristy.
And I would add, do your research, know your value, know how much you are bringing to the table, and don't let anyone take advantage of you.
Awesome. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much, ladies. So you can come back to your seats. Thank you. Now, for everybody that has been seated in the audience, I'm going to invite you to stand up really quickly. Just stand up and stretch. This is going to be our mini 30-second stretching break. Gabriela's leading us in the YMCA up here in the front. So, when you've stretched and you're ready to sit back down, I invite you to sit. And we're going to go ahead and move into the next part of our presentation. And in this part of our evening tonight, we are going to talk about access to capital. And as you heard from from all three of our panelists actually, the importance of mentorship for women entrepreneurs. So what we're going to talk about specifically is some of the key questions to ask when you're seeking funding. We're going to talk about the background and research. Why is this important? And then we're going to take a look at the funding landscape. Obviously, we don't have enough time tonight to go and research every single option, but we're going to look at some very specific options this evening. And then, as I mentioned, we'll talk about mentoring. Now, to start off, just to give you a little history, as I mentioned at the beginning, Small Business Majority is a national nonprofit organization. We are different than, for example, like a chamber that has paid membership in the sense that we do not have paid members, but we have what we call our network of small business owners and partner organizations across the United States. And the way that they partner with us is that they will participate in some of the research and polling that we do through outside providers to find out where it is that they stand on different proposed legislation, or to find out about what issues are affecting them in their entrepreneurship journeys. And our scientific opinion polling is saying that 90% of small businesses say that the availability of credit is a problem. So we're going to talk about why this is important, and I'll give you a little bit of historical context to understand this. So what has happened to small business lending? It has changed drastically, and one of the things that we know is that small business banking is down 20% since the Great Recession. Banks are more risk averse. They have stricter underwriting standards. And what has happened is that if you have a small business owner coming into a bank asking, for example, for a $10,000 loan, and then you have another big corporation or bigger business coming in and asking for a $500,000 loan or $1 million loan, the underwriting process for both of those loans is pretty much the same. So there's a greater return of investment for the bank to provide the bigger size loan than what there is for them to provide the smaller size loan. So banks are doing away with providing the smaller loans because of that reason. As you heard at the beginning, women-owned firms are almost 10 million across the United States, and they generate 1.4 million in revenue. In case you didn't know, it's also important to talk about the importance of small businesses, because small business are the #1 generators of new jobs. The net growth of new jobs, not just nationally or across the state or even locally, but just across our land, across the United States, is coming from small business. So also, owning a small business represents the second source of household wealth in the United States. So when you're thinking about, especially as a woman, especially as, for example, being the primary income earner in your household, or being your head of household where you are the one raising children and providing for them. For women that are interested in advancing from one economic level to the next, the two best ways to build your wealth are through building your assets. That means either buying a home or starting a business, because the thought is that over time, as you build these assets, that they will increase in value. And so for women to reach their full potential, we need to support women small business owners and give them the resources that they need. We do know as well that women-owned firms face significant barriers. Typically, they're smaller in size. They start out with less capital. Sometimes you're digging into your retirement, which is not recommended, or relying on credit cards, which is also not recommended. But we know that there are lower approval rates for bank loans at smaller amounts, and 30% of companies that are owned by women were able to get bank loans compared to half of all business owners. Women, unfortunately, are also more vulnerable to predatory lending. And when it comes to minority-owned firms, there are 5.8 million minority-owned businesses that together generate 1 trillion in revenue. And 1 in 3 women-owned firms today in the United States is owned by a woman of color. Unfortunately, women and minority-owned firms are less likely to receive loans, and they're also more vulnerable to predatory lending practices because of social, cultural, or in the cases of immigrants, linguistic barriers, where there's a language difference or a language barrier. But the good news, and the reason why we're here tonight celebrating Women in Small Business Month, is that there are more funding options available than ever before to help you start and grow your business. Now, on this next slide, we have some of the funding resources available, and this is just an introductory slide. As I mentioned, we don't have the time to go through every single option, but one of the things that I want to share with you, in my role with Small Business Majority, besides presenting these types of presentations and these types of events, the other thing that I do is that I also am available to meet as a small business counselor. So if you're thinking about starting a business, or if you have a business and you would like to send me an email and say, Maximiliana, let's grab some coffee, I want to sit down and talk to you, I'm more than happy to do so. I can tell you that what I have come across consistently, the number one challenge when people are looking to obtain funding of some sort for their business is a lack of personal credit, a lack of basic financial literacy, which simply means being able to manage your money, being able to work with the funds that you have within your own household first. Because although your business will eventually have a business credit score, and it will be looked at separately for banking purposes, initially in the first 3 to 5 years, what is going to be looked at is going to be your own personal finances, your own personal credit score, which brings us to our next slide. In order to determine your credit worthiness, lenders usually rely on what are known as the 5 C's of credit. That is your character, which they review based upon your credit history, and again, looking at your credit score, including if you're repaying your debts on time or not. Cash flow, whether you have the revenue to pay the loan. Also, your capital, how much of your own money have you invested? Collateral, do you have any property or assets that you can put up as security against the loan that you're seeking? And then depending on the business that you're looking at starting, looking at conditions that could affect your industry, specific things that could end up affecting your industry. So before you get to the point where you say, hey, Maximiliana, can you send me to a banker, or can you connect me with the SBA? I hear they give money for businesses. You need to think wherever you're at in the room and answer these questions internally in your own mind for yourself. The first question is, do you know your credit score? The second question is, do you know how much debt you have? The third question is, do you have a plan to repay the debt that you currently have? The fourth question, this is personal, right? So we're not even talking about your business yet. We're laying the foundation for your personal financial standing. So the fourth question would be, do you have a savings account, typically the best practices suggest that it should be from anywhere from 3 to 6 months to cover living expenses in case Murphy comes to visit, as he often does, because he's a man, right? It's not a woman. So these are the questions that you need to be able to answer. And then when you are getting ready to find and seek out capital, these are the questions that you should be able to answer very confidently. This is where your advisory council comes in. You call Gabriela and you say, hey, can you review these questions with me? Or you call Darcella and say, can you help me review my business plan? And if you don't know who I'm talking about, you will after I finish this presentation, because they'll be coming up on stage. So here are the questions that you need to consider. You need to know what you need the money for, how much money you're going to need, how long is it going to take for you to pay that money back. You need to also understand your current business financials and what is the shape of your business, like financially. How long have you been in business? How much collateral, if any, do you have to put up for the loan? How quickly do you need the money? And that's important because in some cases, it could take months, depending on which provider you're going through and the requirements that they have. And then lastly, are you seeking debt or equity financing? And what that means, debt financing, you're going to pay it back plus interest. Equity financing means that you're giving somebody a portion of your business. So you're not the sole owner anymore. You've paid them back by giving them a portion of your business. So all of these are important questions. I know that Kristy shared with us that she didn't actually start out by doing a business plan. She started more so doing the business, and then it grew and transformed later. But these are questions that typically, if you have a business plan for your business, you can look at the different sections in your business plan and find the answers to these questions. So these are the questions that you would need to consider and think about. And so this brings us up to, what are some of the different places that you could go and secure funding for your business? Well, one of them are organizations that are called CDFIs, a Community Development Financial Institution. They typically work in communities, serving the community around them, and they provide funding to underserved entrepreneurs, including women and low-income communities. Because they work with the community, they don't have the strict standards that banks oftentimes will have, but then at the same time, they don't provide the larger loans that typically banks would have. But it's an option, and you'll hear from some later on in just a couple of minutes. The next option, as you heard me say, is the SBA loan program from the U.S. Small Business Administration. Now, you need to understand that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, they themselves don't necessarily give out the money, but they're the middle person. They will work in between the small business owner and the banking institution, and they serve as a guarantor. So that means that if for some reason you don't pay back the loan, the bank is still going to get their money from the SBA, and then the SBA will come after you to collect that loan, right? So they work as the middle person to try to get the banks to provide funding options for those organizations that, or for those small business owners that may not necessarily yet be bankable, but it's a process that you go through. And because you're inviting this third person into this process, it's going to take much longer. The guidelines are going to be much stricter, but again, it is an option as well. Now, the SBA has different resources. You can see some of the websites that you can check out here. And then this brings us to the next option that is being seen more and more today, and that is alternative online lenders. And so with the advancement of technology, which is a great thing on the one hand, and a really dangerous thing, on the other hand, is that you have all of these online lenders that can reach out and connect with you, send you emails, get in your Facebook, get in your email, and let you know that you qualify for all of this amount of money. And all you have to do is click yes, and the money, and provide your bank writing information, and the money will be in your account the next day. And it's very tempting as a small business owner, but it's also highly unregulated. And you have to be very careful and proceed with caution. And for this, I'm going to let this young lady tell you her story.
I own Heavenly Flowers 2 in Amityville, Heavenly Flowers 3 in Williston Park, New York. To open Heavenly Flowers 2, I took a retirement package from Verizon, and I used those funds to open up this store. I didn't need any capital at the beginning because I had enough funds. It wasn't until I had an unexpected flood in my basement here in Amityville. I ran to my bank immediately, which I've been banking for since I opened my store, and gave them everything, and they denied me. They said I didn't qualify. So because I was so desperate, I decided to go with online funding. You know, we get at least 10 to 15 phone calls a day here. So I decided to speak to one of them, and sure enough, within 24 hours, I had money in my bank account. The online process was appealing because it was easy money. I didn't have to send them all these documentations that you have to send to a regular bank. Little did I know that it came with a huge interest rate, which did a lot of damage to my business. And it wasn't until I went to a local business meeting with the Chamber of Commerce here in Amityville, and one of the vice presidents from the Small Business Administration came that day to speak about these loans and how we should be careful on taking out these online loans. And I was there like, oh my God, that is me. When I started adding up my weekly money that I was paying them, and I did that into a monthly payment, came to over $11,000 a month. That's when reality really kicked in, and I said, oh my God, what am I doing to my business?
Excelsior Growth Fund promotes economic development and job creation in New York State by providing a streamlined access to small business loans and business advisory services. So the way that I met Maria was she came to us from a referral from the SBA. She was in need of capital, and she has been turned down by different banks.
Excelsior gave me a loan for $40,000 to pay off all my online lending company that I had. My payments went from $11,000 a month to $902 a month. And I was able to breathe all over again. I think Excelsior believed in my dream and my passion for my flower shop. They were there all the way. They guided me from A to Z in the whole process of the loan. If I didn't get hooked up with Excelsior, I probably would have closed my store. I would advise small business owners to educate themselves because I didn't know about the Small Business Administration. Owning a flower shop is just not about flowers. It's the passion that you put into your work, and that shows in the work that you provide to the customers.
So you did hear correctly when she said $11,000 a month to $900 a month. So when we say proceed with caution, this is the reason why. So I'll talk more a little bit about Venturize that you saw in the beginning as one of our resources towards the end of our presentation, because Venturize is one of the websites, resource websites that Small Business Majority has. And if you're interested in seeing the video again, you can go and find it there on our Venturize website. Besides some of the resources that we mentioned, sometimes I get asked, Maximiliana, are there grants available for small businesses, or are the grants just for nonprofit organizations? And there are grants available for when you're starting a business. You have to do the work of looking for them. And here are some of the resources that we have collected. I've seen them if you just do a Google search and look for them. And we have some of these available. And then lastly, I also want to bring up what are known as VCs, the venture capitalists or the angel investors, because I've been in some presentations where this has been brought up, and it's been brought up as kind of like the dream, right? Like the Shark Tank. Oh, if I could just get somebody to give me $5 million, my business would just take off. And that's not necessarily reality, because in what happens is that the venture capitalists end up taking ownership of your business, whether it's 50%, 20%, etc. And then you have to be very careful. In reality, nationwide, per the Kauffman Foundation, only 3% of the funding nationally that is done for financing of small businesses comes from these venture capitalists, and 1% of that is going to, or designated for startup organizations. So I had the opportunity to meet with a venture capitalist here in St. Louis, and I asked him, I said, so what kind of business are you looking for? What kind of businesses would you support? And his answer was, we're looking for like the next Amazon or the next Facebook. So if you're looking at starting a Puerto Rican restaurant, I'm thinking Puerto Rican because I believe she was Puerto Rican, and I've got plantains on my brain now, but if you're thinking about starting a Puerto Rican restaurant in St. Louis, 1, please let me know where it's located, and 2, I don't think that this is going to be like a venture capitalist or an angel investor is going to be the type of funding that you're going to get for that kind of business. So you have to know what's more likely to fund the business that you are seeking to start. So these are some of the options that we know are available in the area for small business. Like I said, you need to know your business and what funding is more suitable for your business idea. And from here, we're going to jump into mentorship, because as you heard from our panelists, that mentorship is very important. And besides what you heard from our panelists, it's important to note that adults with access to a mentor are 5 times more likely to say that they want to start a business. And small business owners that receive 3 hours or more of counseling report higher revenues and employment growth rates. So right there, if you want to increase your business bottom line, the first thing you should do is make sure that you get yourself a mentor. And so you may be thinking, well, why do I need a mentor? Well, the Kauffman Foundation has said that nearly half of women entrepreneurs that were surveyed said that they reported a lack of available mentors, because the thing is that when you know your business, right? But you don't necessarily know tax laws, for example, or you don't necessarily know how do I do HR and how do I pay my employees. Also, as Luz alluded to when she was up here on stage, there are fewer examples of female entrepreneurs, role models, especially in the STEM field. So these are reasons for you to seek out a mentor, and the fastest way to your success is basically to copy the success formula that somebody else has implemented for themselves. And so one of the best ways, as I mentioned, to grow your business is through having a mentor. Here are some of the areas that they can help you. And the next question would be, well, how do I find a mentor? You can look within your personal network or your friends, family, and community. Think about, who do I know maybe that has a successful small business in my community, or maybe somebody within my church, or if I'm a member of a volunteer organization. You heard our panelists say you need to show up, as Kristy said. You need to show up, you need to connect, you need to attend events like this and more, and you need to also seek somebody out that is in the industry that you are looking to get into. And just observe, even sometimes by observation, there's many things that you can do and learn as you are seeking who you're going to approach to ask if they would mentor you. Now, I don't want to give too much away, but there are local organizations such as the Women's Business Center, Small Business Development Center, that are local places where you can find a mentor. There are also additional resources on our website. And as you see, venturize.org is a resource locator, which means you can just go in, put in your zip code, and many of the organizations that you're going to hear from in our next panel discussion shortly are already listed on there in one place, very accessibly for you so that you can follow up and connect with them after tonight's presentation. You can't forget as well, showing up, for example, to your local Chamber of Commerce or any other small business accelerators or networking groups. There really, truly is a plethora of resources here in the St. Louis area. And if you don't know where to go after tonight's presentation, please be sure to reach out to any of the panelists, get on their Facebook pages, follow them, and sign up for their newsletters, and that's how you will begin to learn more and more about the events. And also definitely, of course, come out to the rest of the events that we have for the rest of the month, because you'll be able to connect with other organizations and other possible mentors there as well. And when you have a mentor, you need to know and understand, well, how does this person work in my life? So look for, one suggestion is to look for a mentor that has a skill set that you need, right? So evaluate your business, think about, what do I need the most right now, currently in my business? And then seek somebody out that can help you with that. If you have varying needs within your business, it's perfectly okay to have more than one mentor. Now remember though that your mentor is there to provide you with that feedback and those resources and to help you handle what I call the bigger problems in your business. And there are other people that you should go to for some of the smaller rocks in your business to get help with. Keep an open mind about what you think you might need. Be willing to adapt the relationship. Remember that where you are today in your business is not going to be where you will be 6 months from now or a year from now. And as your business grows and changes, so will the relationships that you will need to develop to continue to grow and change right along with your business. And this is, as I mentioned, our online platform, venturize.org. As I mentioned as well, many of the resources that you are going to be hearing about next, you can find them here as our business partners in this one-stop shop, as we like to call it. It is a location-based map, and it is nationwide according to the places where Small Business Majority operates. So I've had people that have heard me speak here in St. Louis and have asked me, oh, can you help my son in California? Or I know my cousin in Denver wants to start a business. Can you help somebody there, or do you have resources there? And all I can say is just go to the website, venturize.org, enter your zip code, and check out the resources that come up. If for some reason you can't find what you need, then of course shoot me an email and I'll be more than happy to help you find it. And that concludes my presentation for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so now you know the drill. Go ahead and stand up. We'll take another stretching break. And while you are stretching, I'm going to call Shawna Collier with Justine Petersen, Alyce Herndon with Grace Hill Women's Business Center, Gabriela Ramirez-Arellano with the Hispanic Chamber and the Balsa Grant. So Gabriela is going to be sharing with us as a representative of 2 organizations tonight. Nguyen with the International Institute, Mindy with Brazen St. Louis, and Darcella Craven with the Veterans Business Resource Center. Thank you so much. So So to set the stage now that these fabulous ladies are up here, I want to share with you, our audience, and let you know these ladies represent different, what are known as entrepreneurship service organizations, or ESOs for short, in the St. Louis area. As you are listening to the responses that they're going to give to our questions, if you have a question that you would like to ask them, make sure that you write it down or just make yourself a mental note. And if time permits, at the end, we will be having a brief Q&A session. So I just wanted to let you know that so that you can get ready. All right, ladies. Now, I know that there are more of you than we have microphones up here, so we will have to share. And it's okay. It's okay, Shawna, we'll share. Alyce will share with you. Thank you. So here are my questions, and we'll start with Darcella and come around this way. My first question is, what organization do you represent, and how does your organization specifically help current or aspiring small business owners?
Thank you. My name is Darcella Craven, and I'm the President and Chief Fear Conqueror of the Veterans Business Resource Center. We assist veterans, any people who served in the United States military, any point in time served, any branch of service, and their family members, so immediate family members, not their third cousin twice removed, but I'll take, father, brother, sister, mother, etc. And anyone currently serving in the military would start up an expansion of small business in Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, and Southern Illinois.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mindy Mazur. I'm the Executive Director of Brazen St. Louis. I wish I had a title as cool as yours. I love your title. At Brazen St. Louis, we're a membership-based organization that helps women entrepreneurs grow their businesses. We do that through a variety of different business-first, ongoing, customizable programming. Our flagship program is called Growth Groups, and those are peer accountability or peer mentoring groups of 7 to 9 women entrepreneurs that we match together. They meet once a month for a 3-hour chunk of time to talk about their biggest business challenges together.
Hi, my name is Nguyen. I am representing the International Institute of St. Louis. And we have the programs that assisting the business owner from A to Z. We start from financial literacy. We also offer the tax assistance with helping people for filing their taxes. We offer the business classes, business workshop, and we offer credit counseling, business consulting, and also the financing for small businesses.
Thank you for having me. Gracias, Maximiliana. My name is Gabriela Ramirez-Arellano, and as the business counselor at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I personally work directly with small business owners. The Chamber is dedicated to increasing the economic development of the region, so our members are all over the place, nonprofits, for-profit corporations, and small business, not all Hispanic, but providing the resources that they need, and because I work directly with them, I can tailor some of the needs to them. Luz is one of my favorite inspirational stories, not just because she's awesome, but because she's a really good person that listens when I counsel her. That's also a key thing for small businesses, is to listen to the advice and make sure that it fits for you before you act on it. But then as the business director of the Balsa Foundation, I'm in charge of the learning series. So it's a $1,000 grant that we provide twice a year to first-time entrepreneurs, specifically of color, but not necessarily in the city. And then after they win that $1,000, we go through a whole 10-week learning series that talks to them and presents to them resources like Darcella, like Mindy, that will talk to them about all the other agencies in the city that also support them, but then also provide the services that they need, so that instead of having them use that $1,000 to get a marketing budget or whatnot, they'll meet a marketing company that will come during the learning series and provide at least 1 hour pro bono. We can kind of, arrange that with them so that they're using the money for the things that they actually need, but then that technical assistance also helps them to see how to get their business to the next level.
Alyce, before you continue, I just want to mention, Gabriela, with your answer, with the Balsa Foundation, although the recipients of the Balsa grant receive $1,000, as Gabriela mentioned, I have specifically shared when I'm sharing about that resource that you have to put a dollar amount on all of the representatives that come and speak, as Gabriela mentioned, doing that pro bono work, because every time that somebody feeds into you and into your business by providing you with the resources or the information, there's a dollar amount after that, right? So just to share that, to know that the Balsa grant is not just $1,000 that you get physically, but it's also everything else that is being fed into you, as it is with any of all of the resources that are being presented here tonight.
Thank you, Maximiliana. Actually, we value that at $30,000 per finalist for the Balsa Learning Series.
Thanks. Yes, Alyce.
Hi, my name is Alyce Herndon. I am the director of Grace Hill Women's Business Center. We have 4 flagship programs that we offer. We offer Idea Spot, which will allow you to vet your idea to see what it is that you're venturing to get into. We also have one-on-one counseling that we offer as well. So that's business plans, marketing plans. We are funded through Small Business Administration, so it's already tax dollars that have paid for our services. We also have trainings and workshops that are available, and we have a 16-week program which is called Workshop and Business Opportunity, which is a paid program that offers you a mini MBA.
Thank you, Alyce.
Hi, I'm Shawna with Justine Petersen, and I am pleased to be here. Justine Petersen is on grant, so we are accessible to everyone. We provide funding to low to moderate income families. We help individuals that are starting up a business and also existing businesses. We have a housing program, so if you're interested in purchasing a home, we will help you with that as well. We also have foreclosure prevention. We have an office in Kansas City. We have one in Granite City. I am also a facilitator that teaches entrepreneurial training classes to post-incarcerated individuals. I travel to Chicago and Detroit, as well as being here in St. Louis teaching that as well.
Thank you, Shawna. Gabriela, I'm going to come back to you to start off on the next question, just because of what you said about loose listening. So my question for everybody, but we'll start off with Gabriela answering, is what do the most successful entrepreneurs that you have seen have in common?
I would say it's hard to define it, but one of the key indicators is that they're open to other ideas. I also have a business, so I have an idea of what my business should be like, but that might not be what the clients will like. That I may not have thought about all the things because I'm so invested in my business. So being open-minded, I think, is key. So it goes kind of back to what you talked about earlier, is to reach out to the mentors, to get your advisory board together, but to be open to it. I mean, it's not enough to have all those people feeding you and giving you information. You have to be able to decide to move forward or maybe not on some things if it doesn't go with you.
In any order, whoever wants to go next.
I think there are many things that a successful business owner have in common. But today I want to talk about the most important thing really is they need to have the plan and they need to have a vision. So many people have the ideas, but if they don't have the plan to carry it out, to make it become the reality, so the idea would just die. And I don't talk about some complicated plan. The plan can be something very simple at the starting point, but during the journey, the business owner can learn, and with experience, they know how to analyze, they know how to solve the problem, they know how to develop their plan into the details, and make it step by step how to grow the business, how to bring the business into the successful level. And also on the lender perspective, I see that when someone have the plan, they can come and they can present the plan. And at that time, they gain the trust. And with the trust, people will know where and how and when to help them.
Thank you, Nia.
I would concur with both of those answers, and I would add two things. One is tenacity, really. Dare I say brazen? People, the entrepreneurs that I meet with who are really making strides are the ones that, back to what Kristy said, they're showing up. They're working hard. They've got their eye on the ball. So tenacity. And then team. Again, that team that is surrounding the entrepreneur. And team can take a variety of different forms, but making sure that they have people around them that are smarter than them or can help fill in gaps in all those building blocks of business that they need: accounting, legal, technology, marketing, finance and raising money, all of those things wrapping around with the people that they're surrounding themselves with.
I'm going to go with absolutely. And so this is not technical stuff, but two things. You use the orifices on your face appropriately. So 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth for a reason. So open up your eyes, open up your ears, shut your mouth. You'll be surprised at what happens when you do that, and people are there helping you and they're ready to help you. And then I think the other thing is language. Some of the most successful people that I've ever met do not ever use the word I have to. They say I need to, I want to, I will do. So,
thank you, Darcella.
And I would add, after seeing various startups and existing businesses, don't try to invent the wheel. It's okay. It's out there. Opportunities come, as you heard Megan and Kristy. Kristy, it just happened. Husband is meeting with someone. All of a sudden, they have office space. Things take off. Megan is not out there speaking to everybody, but this is something that actually came to her. This is something that she wanted to do. You have to do what you want to do. Don't get up trying to do something that's just so cumbersome every day and you're not enjoying it. So you feel it and you will want to do it, and it flows. It's not easy, but that's where mentors come in at. Everybody needs help. You cannot do it by yourself, no matter what it is you're doing. Even if you're planting flowers, you need some help from someone. So just reach out, do your research.
Everybody said what I needed to say. But what I would add to that is behind every successful business is a tribe, right? Mm-hmm. And what does that look like? It means that you have a resource partner who is skilled in legal. You have a resource partner who is a banker. You have someone who understands the hiring process. You have someone who understands the finances that can coach you. You have someone who can support you when you get unmotivated and you need that motivation. So utilize everything that is around you. There is no one-size-fits-all success plan. Because if you try to look at what someone else is doing, it may not be the right fit for you. So we are uniquely designed as businesses, regardless of the industry, and always have a tribe that is there to support you. Reach out to them, utilize them.
Thank you, Alyce. So this question was not on the script, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So Alyce, this tribe, how much is it going to cost me? What is the price range of the services that your organization offers?
Okay, so Grace Hill Women's Business Center has been in existence for 20 years. We're coming up on our 20th anniversary. The services that we provide has a value, as Gabriela shared, it's that value is endless because our services are free. It's done through taxpayers' dollars because we are funded through Small Business Administration. So if you need counseling, no matter where you are in your business, if you're at the grassroots or if you're currently an existing business, we can support you. If you need a marketing plan, we can help you pivot and look at what it is that you're doing. If you're needing someone to look at your finances, financial literacy, as we discussed earlier, is huge. And sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. So our services, the value is endless, but the opportunities are definitely there to support you.
Thank you. How about everybody else?
Well, as the Balsa Foundation hat, you come into the cohort if you win one of the $1,000 grants, but we do have on our website an idea support so that you can actually submit your idea, your process, or what you're thinking about for your business. And then we have people that we work with that can verify it, look at it, and give you feedback to see like, hey, is this a great idea? Or here are some ideas for doing it a different way. We also have an entrepreneur roadmap in Spanish and English on the website that will actually help you start your business. It has links to everything you need to do. Register with the state, check the name if it's available, get an EIN, meet with a lot of these ladies that are up here in their organizations. So the balsafoundation.org is the website and the roadmap and the entrepreneur roadmap, and the idea support is there. As far as the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we are a member-based organization, so it depends on the size of your company. We do offer a free membership for all Hispanic-owned businesses less than 3 years old. A lot of that we found was a struggle in culture, so a lot of times a Chamber of Commerce is not necessarily something that in our culture we think of as an agency that would help us. It's more considered in our countries a government agency. So we want to make sure that the entrepreneurs see it as a value to them. You want to make sure that whoever you join, that you fit in there. Don't join that organization just because someone said this is the one to go. So thank you.
Thanks.
So we have a variety of programs that specialize to serve immigrants and refugees. And such a wide range, I don't know how to start. So let's just start from the clients that come in and not really ready for the high scale of the program. They can start with some small businesses for women, and we only charge 4% interest rate for that loan. It's $1,000 per person. Or some people that have more time and they're not ready at all for the business, we can start them up with IDA program, which is completely free. So IDA is stand for Individual Development Account. And what we're having right now is 2-to-1 match. That means $1 the client save, we will match with another $2, and they can use the entire amount to start their business. And we have the other more professional loans, which is up to $50,000, and the interest rate can range from 7% to 10%. When the client enroll in and want to be helped with the financing, we provide all the technical assistance, which is business plan counseling. We help them build a business plan, financial statement. We offer them the marketing and sale assisting. We connect them with the legal services for legal advices, and also other licensing, and connect them with like festival in order for them to make more sale or have a booth over there. So those are something that we're doing, and it completely based on when the client enroll in, and we're gonna assess them through the process, and we decide where is the state that they stay at.
Thank you.
At Brazen, we have different levels of membership, but our main level of membership is $19.88 a month. 1988 is symbolic because that is the year that the federal law was changed to allow women to apply for a business loan without a male relative as a cosigner.
1988? You're sure it wasn't 1888? 1988.
It's shocking, isn't it?
It is.
It's a reminder to us that as women, business owners and entrepreneurs, we're really just getting started. So we try and have a very accessible price point there. With that, our members have access to a variety of different ongoing programming that they can customize to suit their needs. Those include one-on-one, what we call power hours. They're one-on-one mentor sessions with subject matter experts every month in key building block areas for businesses. We do those in technology, accounting, marketing, finance and raising money, and legal every month. So as a member, you can sign up for a half an hour mentor session as part of your monthly membership fee. Kind of gets back to it's what you make of it. We also have monthly member events that are often panel discussions or roundtables where we like to get really dig deep into business first topics. And then we have a variety of other things that go with that membership as well. I mentioned growth groups earlier. Growth groups as our flagship program, it is an add-on program, and that's an additional $30 a month. Those programs are very proven methodologies. Other groups that do similar programs are typically mostly men. Oftentimes they have barriers to entry that women entrepreneurs can't get over, especially early stage businesses, such as minimum revenues, like you have to have $150,000 in revenue before you can join a mastermind group, or you have to have a certain number of employees. So we try and be a place that is on-ramping for this type of really good programming for women entrepreneurs.
So Mindy, just a quick follow-up question for you. Do you have to already have a business started or a business idea, or can you come in and just say, I have an idea and I want to get started?
Great question. So our members meet 3 basic criteria. You have to identify as a woman, you have to be the owner, founder, president, or CEO of your own company, but it can be very early stage, and we do have many who are. And then you just have to want to grow your business.
Thanks.
So 1988 was also the year I graduated from high school, so that's an awesome year. The Veterans Business Resource Center does not charge you money. However, I do ask for something, like the godmother, I am coming back, to ask you to give back to the community in which gave you so much. So we will ask you to come back and speak. We will ask you to come back and teach a class. Or if you're an IT person, we'll ask you to come back and give some IT lessons or work to the center, because we are a nonprofit agency. We do get funded by the SBA. So we do charge for some things, like we have a CEO roundtable that is $250 a year, or $30 a month. Pay the $250, you're gonna come out ahead. But, so we do charge for those kinds of things. If you wanna eat, my federal dollars won't pay for your food, so I have to figure out some way to pay for that food. But the other thing I will say is I do sometimes hand a bill to my clients who are acting up, who are not listening, and I hand them the bill for how much it would cost them if they were paying for my consultant who was sitting in front of them, so that you understand how much money I go out and raise, so that you don't have to come out of your pocket, or the legal services people that come in. So sometimes I will give a bill to somebody so they can kind of wake up and go, oh, yeah, I would have paid like $50,000 for that, all right? So,
thank you.
Real quick with Justine Petersen, it is no cost at all, but we make sure that our clients understand that your time is quite valuable. So as business owners, you're investing. So this is something that you want to do. We're there, we're providing these services to you. We too get money from SBA. We also borrow from banks. So we're able to not charge for the services that we do offer. We also ask that our participants come back and share and let other new clients understand what we're doing out there as well. So we also utilize our own clients for luncheons that we have. So we network as well. Even though we are a nonprofit, we like your services to come into our services as well.
Thank you for that. Before I ask my next question, I just want to see a show of hands. If you have a question for the panelists, would you raise your hand? You are. No questions. Okay, well, here's my last question. And we're going to start with Alyce, so nobody will take your answer. But I want you to think about what you enjoy the most in this line of work that you do. And I want you to think, woman to woman, what would you say to the best friend that you have sitting out here in the audience? It doesn't have to be about a startup business. It doesn't have to be about making sure that your personal finances are in order. Something from you and your life personally that you know to be true. So just a nugget, a little gem that you want to share with your best friend in the audience.
Hey, so one of the things that, or a couple of things that I would share in conversation, woman to woman, don't be afraid. Know your value, know your power, know your ability. Don't be afraid of your abilities. You have a strong voice. I would also say, trust yourself. My mom tells me all the time, trust my gut. Because sometimes I will question what it is that I'm doing, and she'll say, Al, trust your gut. You got the answer already. When I look at a couple of clients that are in the audience and we've talked about your businesses specifically, you know the field, you know the industry, do it. Don't be afraid. You have the skill, you have the ability. Don't be afraid to step out. And I think that we as women, we become a little shy of our skills and our abilities of what it is that we have in us to do. So don't be afraid. Just, have you ever seen those videos of cats? And the cat is always looking at you, like you see the glass at the end of the table, and the cat is like, yep, I'm gonna knock it off. Yep, that's me. I'm your cat. So I will get you to the edge, and I will push you, because you're gonna either fall or you're gonna get up and say, I got this, and start running. And I want you to soar.
Thank you, Alyce.
All of you are my best friends, so I'm just going to tell y'all what I tell my best friends. And I really do. I talk to my clients just like I talk to my friends and family. Alyce, Kristy, they know me. This is me all the time. We in it together. Just because it's your business, you came. And we in this together. I want to see you succeed. I need to use your product. I need to buy your product. I need my family to buy your product. Also to use your product. So I need you to succeed. We don't need the hookups. Do what you do. The man upstairs got you. If you believe in it, it's done and it's over with. That's me. I don't go through a whole lot. It's me. He got you.
I would say that I really genuinely love what I do. It wasn't enough to be the business counselor at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I also wanted to volunteer in the evening and on the weekends to do it for the Balsa Foundation, because it is a volunteer position. Mainly because I see myself in entrepreneurs. So my thing to friends would be that I was afraid for so long of failing. And I finally realized that every time I failed, I really succeeded. I was able to learn, right? So don't look at, if something doesn't happen the way you wanted, you didn't get the loan, the product didn't launch, nobody showed up when you opened the restaurant, that's not a failure. That's a learning experience. But you have to change that perspective, like Darcella said. So my nugget would be fail hard, learn from it, and just do it.
I really love what I'm doing, and I think the part that I love the most is when I have a client, I can see the results right away. I work with the client from the beginning when they just start a business. It's just a startup from scratch, and after 2 years, the business is still doing very well. They hire more employees, they provide jobs for St. Louis, and after 5 years, they're still there, staying strongly, and expand their business and open the second branches. So something like that, it really make me feel the rewarding of what I'm doing. So I appreciate the opportunities that the job give me. I appreciate the lessons from our clients, and I appreciate the experience and the love that they give it to me through the result that we've been working really hard together. One thing that if I want to say to a friend, which is a fellow woman, I think I would just echo what you're saying, which is be fearless, not afraid of being brave, and really take risks and be willing to make a mistake. We are women. We are taught to be very careful, to be very conservative. So sometimes we're so scared of everything. We want to be safe. So today, to take a very small step, go out of our comfort zone, try something new, make the mistake. It's okay to make the mistake. As long as we're still alive, we still can correct our mistakes. One client, which is her successful story, I want to share with you today. She come from Thailand, and when she come here, she has no money. Her husband bring her here, but he didn't want to share with her anything financially. And when she go to work, the husband say she had to transfer the money into his account, and he just secretly transfer that money to another account. But she continued to earn experience, and she want to open the restaurants. And when she want to do that, the husband didn't support her at all, and she do it anyway. Her English is not good. She had a very significant language barriers, and she come to us through a friend that told her about us. And she come, and then she now starting her second restaurant. So, yes, so she come from the very minimum with nothing. She just know how to cook. That's all she has. But she dare to do it. And now we can see that she very successful in her field. And if you want to know about her, it's her restaurant named Sunisa Thai's Restaurant, and it's located in St. George. And she going to open the second restaurant, but that is something I cannot share the new location right now because the plan is still going. So we need to keep it a little bit secret until it really becomes the reality.
Awesome. Thank you, Yes.
That's wonderful. So I'm personally very passionate about women in leadership and equity and entrepreneurship and economic development, and it's been a wonderful honor for me to get to really advance all three through my work with women entrepreneurs at Brazen St. Louis. Without a doubt, the best part of my job is working with the members, the business owners, and to see every day new people and new ideas with this. We have lots of sayings at Brazen. One of them is no ceilings. No ceilings really appeals to me because I see and talk to women entrepreneurs who see blue sky, and I love that. I love that. But my advice would be, and I've been learning more about this over the past couple of years myself, is the idea of an abundance mentality. If any of you have heard of that there's enough. And there's more than enough. And in fact, when we think about the discrepancy as it relates to women-owned businesses and them scaling and earning the same amount of revenue or adding employees and jobs the way businesses owned by men do, there's enormous opportunity for women to not only make a difference for their own families and their own communities, but think about the ripple effects of every woman-owned business added just one job or just 1% of revenue each year, and we just grow that and grow that and grow that. So if we're stronger together, support one another, and know that we've got your back.
The first part of that question was, do I like my job? I quit every day. You entrepreneurs get on my last nerve something.
Wait, Darcella, I think the question was...
I was venting. No, actually, it was my passion. So yes, yes. There are some days when I'm like, you know what? If I hear one more question about free money or finances, I'm nope. And then somebody will come and say, thank you, what you said to me helped me, and now I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and you got me for another 20 years. I've been doing this for 20 years, right? Here's my advice I give my friends. Stop apologizing. Take the word I'm sorry out of your vocabulary. If it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. Do something else, move on, pivot, etc., whatever you want to do, but stop apologizing. I rarely meet any men, entrepreneurs, who ever apologize for getting something wrong. So stop it. That's my mama voice. The second thing is have a motto for yourself. So our motto in my family for my daughters is shoot for the moon, get the moon, nothing else is acceptable. It's not shoot for the moon, get the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars and die as soon as you stop floating around because you lost oxygen. Don't go shoot for a plan B at the start. If you're going to shoot for something, shoot for plan A and get plan A. And if that one doesn't work, get another plan A. Why are we doing A, B, C, D, and E? Nelson Mandela said, I never lose. I either win or learn. These are all pretty cheesy, but they work. So write them down, put them on your wall, put them everywhere you need to be, in your refrigerator, whatever it is. But write them down, listen to them, and say them. If you come to my office, you will see words all over the wall for that reason, because there are days when I need it. A wonderful woman this weekend, I was just at an event, and she said, her name was Kim Blackwell. She owns a company called PMM Agency. And she said, a lit candle loses nothing by lighting another. Blown away. Absolutely. There is no reason we cannot continue to help. I do not lose anything by helping any one of these ladies do better. So find your team. Find the model that works for you and stop apologizing.
Thank you. Okay, ladies, this is your last chance. Does anybody have any questions that they would? Yes, ma'am. Can you stand up and shout it out?
I do have questions. You guys talking about helping entrepreneur, but everything that you guys been talking about, like, helping small business in terms of like, restaurants, stuff like that. But would you guys helping people who are actually in the STEM field, very highly regulated, highly failure rate? Would you guys also be helping them too? Because it comes to a point that I think sometimes I run into the issue is that because the high failure rate in STEM field, nobody willing to pinch in anything or help. I was wondering.
Yes. I would say definitely all of us are connectors. So even if the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce cannot actually go through your plan and tell you yes, yes, no, no, we can say, let's call Dr. Cheryl Watkins Moore at BioSTL. Let's call someone at ITIN. So I find as an entrepreneur myself that the challenges for entrepreneurs is we don't know where to go next. Mm-hmm. So just tap into one person. Hold on to Mindy, and Mindy will get you to the next level. Hold on to Alyce, and she will get you to the next level. Especially here in St. Louis, there's a huge focus and effort on STEM field businesses. Lots of funding, lots of support, lots of startup, or wherever you are in the stage of your business, there are definitely a lot of people that can help.
We'll, because we get federal dollars, so I'm going to tell you, we'll work with any legal business. So if you're over here in Missouri, I can't help you with your marijuana farm. But if we cross the river, I got you. So, and I think what you said is absolutely right. One of these women can get you to the next place you need to be. Absolutely. Do not, you said it. Who said that? No one ever does this alone? You said, oh, girl. No one does it alone. I don't care what book that you read that says they were homeless one day and then they were a millionaire in 2 weeks. No one does it alone. Not one person has ever done it alone.
Right. Thank you for that. Any other questions from our audience?
I just have a comment for the lady just mentioned about STEM. In fact, we have Venture Cafe every week. And so I used to work for the STEM industry, some resources, I will be able to connect.
Yes, awesome. Way to go. Yes, all the way in the back. Can you stand up so we can hear you? It's okay.
I'm dealing with homelessness in St. Louis, and I want to start what's called the Christ Foundation. It's dedicated to my mother and my father. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. And I want to say, and I'm going to say this without getting really emotional about it, thank you. This is exactly what we're talking about today. I have a team already, and I need your help. I've never seen homelessness like it is right now in St. Louis. I was homeless 4 years ago, and I'm a success story. My motto is failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. So I need all of y'all help. Would you please help me, please? With the grants. I'm a grant writer. I've done it for 20 years, and I'm not bragging, but I'm ready to help my sisters. We need this help, and it was done in Iowa. It was done in Chicago, and I need to leave a legacy for my beautiful 17-year-old son, Caleb, and I need to leave a legacy for my beautiful 20-year-old daughter, Kiara. So I need your help as sisters. Can you please help me?
Thank you for bringing that up. I just wanted a quick shout out, or you can raise your hand. If you're with an organization that also helps nonprofits get started, would you raise your hand?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I will talk to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Deanna Tipton. I've used a couple of the organizations on the stage, and I'm so thankful for all of you. I have a question about quicker iteration. What type of advice would you give to an entrepreneur that is knowing that, well, it's me.
You're asking for a friend.
So one of the things that I realized that I like that I do in my job, which is like agile iteration of the things that I create. I'm in IT, but I'm trying to figure out how to apply that to my business. I would love to have any advice of maybe stories or tips of women that you've seen in their businesses figuring out how to fail fast and then get to the next thing because they're iterating and trying things quickly.
So while she's doing that, so here's what I'll tell you. So because I work with veterans, and we're always having to do an evaluation of what they knew in the military and how do we apply it, because our motto in our organization is transitioning military skills into small business success. None of them ever come out with any actual entrepreneurship one-to-one stuff. So take some time to think about who you are, what you know, write it down. That's the first thing, write it down on a piece of paper. And then the other thing that I will tell folks to do is then go talk to somebody, two people. One person who really loves you, have them write it down, what they think you know, what's your knowledge, what skills do you have, what abilities do you have them write that down. And then go talk to someone who you kind of like you wouldn't put them out at Thanksgiving dinner, but you don't want them staying past 10. Ask that person to write your KSAs down as well. And you will be surprised at what other people see in you that you don't see in you. And it allows you to really look at it and go, oh, here's a consistent message all the way through. So this is something I can apply to my business. Or I didn't know I was good at project management, but other people saw that. So you can actually look at things and then you can begin to apply them. There is no easy answer. There's no miracle answer. You have got to do the work to get to what you want.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to? Alyce?
I was going to just share, so you asked about a success story. So we had a young lady who came into the office and she says, I want to start a daycare center. And I said, well, you have the ability to start a daycare center in your house. She said, I'm not putting no kids in my house. I said, okay, so we're going to rule that out. But what it is, just like Darcella was just saying, whatever it is that you do, start making a list of those things and examining that, because there are some trends in your life that you can begin to put together and piece together for your business so you can be successful and figure it out. And all of the programs that you heard that are available here, that will allow you to figure out what your idea is, vet it out. You have different counselors of all of the programs here that will listen to you and offer you bits and pieces and nuggets that you already know. You already know what you can do. You already know, but you're afraid that, yes, I'm going to be successful. It's not, yes, I'm going to fail. It's, yes, I'm going to be successful.
Okay, we'll take one more question if anybody else has a question.
Could I add to this real quick?
Yes.
It's real short. A lot of people think they need brick and mortar. Just do it. There are a lot of incubator spaces, low cost. You can share space with somebody else. You got the coffee houses that you can go into. It can be done. Just do it. Just start writing it down. And when you look at it, you may even have a book, and you're like, "Ooh, that's my business. I'm getting ready to sell this book." Yeah, it can be done. I just want to say that.
Thank you. Did you have a question in the back? Yes. Stand up and tell us your question.
Hey ladies, how are you?
Good.
My problem is I'm really young. I fill out a lot of grants. I'm 27. I own a daycare. My thing is, what do I do after I do grants? It's a lot of people that's scared to give me grants because of my age and because of my credit, I guess. I'm not sure. I filled out an application for the Justine. It's just so long, so I do get encouraged not to do it because of the process of how long it goes. It's just, I get a lot of negative feedback, with my age. So I would say, what would be the next step? Can you guys help me? I need mentors. I need advice on everything. So I'm just trying to figure out what's the next step. What should I do? I go around in the community to try to get information, city halls, different mentors, but in the daycare business, it's no one that's willing to pass the torch to say, okay, this is what you need to do next, do this and do that. It's just, in the daycare business, nobody wants to give you that torch to say, okay, this is the step that you take, this is what you need to do. It's just like everybody's for self. So I'm just asking, what's the next step on that?
Thank you for your question.
First, you're going to have to get with me so we can finish that application, because if you need some money, we need to go ahead and make that happen. But I have found that in the daycare industry, nobody wants to share that information, tell you what the state is doing and how to get paid. We have some clients that will share that information with you. I'll give you my card, and, I'm not on vacation no more, so you can get me. I should be able to get an email from you tomorrow. When I give out my card and say I'm here to help you, and I don't get an email until weeks later, you're not for real. If I say I'm going to help you, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm looking to see an email tomorrow. That's what and that's what I'm saying. This is how I treat my family, my friends, and my clients. I'm telling you the truth. If I don't get an email for a couple of weeks, you're not for real. So I'm not for real. So if I see it tomorrow, I'm working with you.
It's more so people, they're scared of my drive. But we have it, but you know what I'm saying, the age, I say, don't look at my age, look what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build a village and a foundation for children. And it's just, you're not serious, because people are, the owners, they're 50 plus, 30 plus, they just don't want to, give me that foundation. So at that point, I just have to build my own. I've been working in the daycare field since I was 13, I'm 27 now. And with the boss I'm with now, I jumped out on Facebook. I said, you know what, I need to give me a daycare center, and I tell them, it's not me who chose the professional, because the profession chose me.
Thank you.
What's your name? I'm sorry, I missed your name. Chastity. I think Megan gave you an answer earlier that I hope you heard, and that was she was talking to the wrong people for about 6 months. It sounds to me like what you're doing, is you're talking to the wrong people, and since we just got real here,
come on, Darcella.
None of us up here are here to be your friend. We're here to help you do better, so let me help you do better. I need you to remove the words, I am doing this, and nobody wants to help me. Because what you're going to get is this little violin here that's playing My Heart Bleeds for you. When you come at somebody with that much negativity, then that's what you're going to get back. Because they're going to stop listening to you because they're like, oh no, millennial, right? You're old as my daughter. I was like, Lord have mercy, I'll hear this when I go home. So this is what's going to happen is you come with that justified, and then people stop listening to you. Because I don't need to be where you're wanting to go, because I'm already here. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to release all that negativity into that wall or wherever before you go to talk to somebody to ask them to help you. Let it go. Do not pick it back up when you go back outside, because that's the best place for it to be, is somewhere else. When you bring all that negativity to somebody, they don't want to listen to you. They don't want to hear you. Their eyes glaze over. So.
Yes, definitely. Stand up and pass the mic.
You were saying earlier that you need to change your language, and you just did again, but I was saying a lot. I was saying, I hope to open, I hope to open, I hope to open, and somebody was like, stop saying that. Say, I am opening. If you say I am opening, then it's happening one way or another, whether you get funding from so-and-so or not. You are going to do it, so people have a lot more confidence in you if you say I am doing it rather than I hope to do it.
Thank you, Megan. So ladies and gentlemen in the audience, that was the last question that we have for tonight. I do want to ask all of our panelists to please put the microphones down and stand up.
Gonna start singing.
I know, Darcella was having a moment. And in celebration of October being Women in Small Business Month, I would like to ask all of my colleagues on the stage to please give a great round of applause for all of these women that have shown up here tonight to invest in themselves. And now I invite everybody in the audience to thank all of our panelists tonight. And ladies, for me, it has truly been an honor and a privilege to be here with every single one of you. Thank you so much for showing up for yourselves, first of all, for our panelists, and for myself, and for my colleague, my partner in planning all of this month-long series, Lisa. Give her a round of applause as well. Thank you so much.